Hey YouTube, Natalie here. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy Thursday is when I'm filming this. So I'm gonna jump right into this. You guys asked me on the community page, make sure you guys turn on your post notifications, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like so you can see when I'm updating the channel. But you guys asked me to delve into the Megan Thee Stallion versus Tory Lanez situation, and you wanted me to react to your commentary, so to the comments and things that you left on my videos. So I wanted to make sure that I did that. Now, in that video, I asked for you guys to tell me if I was being biased or if you disagreed with me. A lot of you thought I was being biased. Some of you didn't. And a lot of you disagreed with me and some of you agreed with me. So I wanted to look at those comments. Now, just as a PSA, I am open to all comments. I am open to, all opinions. Just let's make sure that we keep things respectful, no name calling and stuff like that. And I'll definitely be interacting with you guys down in the comments below. I also wanted to clear up some questions that people had that were more legal-based questions. So they were questions that were like, what happens if this happens at court? Is this relevant? Is this admissible? How do you know that that's a gunshot wound? That's not a gunshot wound. And so I thought I would try to answer those things as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but I will do my best. So back to the first video. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be one video, and I think that would have really changed the response on it. But the reason that it's two videos is that it cut off by accident. And you guys couldn't see in the first video that at the end, I would think I was very fair to Tory Lanez. So let's just get it poppin'. So someone says, listen to the tone when Tory talks. You're being biased. You're laughing and claim he needs an attorney. You believe Meg prior to watching Tory's video. So actually, no, I did not believe, Meg prior to watching Tory's video. I watched Megan Thee Stallion's video and reacted to it in real time. I watched Tory's video and I reacted to that in real time. And I gave you my opinion based on my real-time response. I was reacting to them, not to, anything that I think about them. I'm not a fan of either one of them. I don't have their music. I don't go to, when we did concerts, I didn't go to any of their performances. I am old, so I am not a fan of either person. I have no opinion on them one way or the other. I think I know one Tory Lanez song, and I know the WAP and the one that she did with Beyonce. That's all I know about Megan Thee Stallion. I am not, her fan or anything like that. But when you say I'm laughing, I thought that was an interesting thing that you pointed out. I laugh at a lot of things. It's not necessarily that I'm laughing at the person. It's called gallows humor. So my line of work entails that I, look at a lot of evidence that's very disturbing. It entails that I, have to deal with very disturbing situations. I mean, child abuse, murder, rape, all types of things like that. So you develop a sense of humor that's kind of dark. It's not, it may be a little off-putting to other people, but anyone that's in my profession knows what I'm talking about. So it's more of a coping mechanism and should not be taken as me trying to be disrespectful to the people that are involved. But I thought it was something that I should address. Yes, I claimed that he needed an attorney because he needs an attorney. He does. And any attorney worth their salt would not allow their client to be making all those statements to the public. And the same thing goes for Megan Thee Stallion. I apply that standard to the both of them. I don't think either one of them should be talking to the media, especially via social media right now. Both of them might benefit from a sit-down interview with a skilled interviewer with their attorney present, or with a prepared statement put out by either one of their attorneys. But I don't think that either of them benefited from the statements that they made to the press. One person says, when he's talking about what he did wrong, I believe he's speaking about what happened between he and Kelsey. I believe he's trying not to tell on someone while attempting to explain that he didn't do the shooting. I believe you missed when he said he didn't shoot her. The album explains everything pretty well. So I did not miss in the statement. I went back and watched the statement again, Tory Lanez statement again. At no point does he say, I did not shoot her. He says things like, it didn't happen like that. The allegations, the situation didn't happen that way. He never came out and said he did not shoot her. That is a tell, okay? That's not me being biased to Tory Lanez or disliking Tory Lanez, because again, I don't know Tory Lanez. I have no feeling about him one way or the other. What it is me saying, based on my training and experience, right? 10 years of experience, 13 years of training, if you include law school, that is a tell for someone who's not telling the truth, okay? Based on me dealing with criminal defendants, state's witnesses lie, police officers lie, attorneys lie, people lie, and they have ways in which they show that they lie. And one thing that they do is they obfuscate. They will make statements. They will talk about everything except for the direct thing that you are there to talk to them about. You know, they'll bring up all types of other things, and they will not talk about the thing that you're there to talk to them about. So it could be that he did not shoot her. And I give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a criminal defendant and he is presumed to be innocent beyond a reasonable doubt, right? And it's the state's burden to prove that he's guilty. All that I'm saying is that based on the way that he's talking, the way that he's speaking, he is not speaking as someone who is being forthcoming about the event itself. I believe him when he says that the event didn't happen just like how she said it happened. I believe that because, as I said before in the first video, there are times when she is being dishonest or evasive, and it's clear that she's being dishonest or evasive. But the ultimate question is whether or not he shot her, and he never says he didn't shoot her. I'm certain of that. And if anyone could point me to a video, another video maybe, where he says he did not shoot her, I would be more than happy to look at that video and adjust my statement. And I am happy to be corrected when I'm wrong. But on this particular point, I am not wrong. You guys need to go back and watch that video. He never says that he didn't shoot her. Now, this question alludes to Kelsey, who is the friend, and whether or not the friend is the one who shot the gun. That is a possibility. So I thought that I would look at the statement of the bodyguard. Now, the reason I knew about the bodyguard statement when I did my first video last week or earlier this week. I knew about the bodyguard statement, okay? But I did not react to it, as I explained to one of my viewers, because other people were saying that that was not the bodyguard, that the statement by the bodyguard was by a troll and not the person who was actually the bodyguard that was in the car with Megan, Tory, and Kelsey, the friend. So I was hesitant to react to it. But I think based on the response from you guys, it is incumbent upon me to react to it with the caveat that it's possible that this is not the right person, that this is just a troll. So let's just pull that video up.
Everybody was in the car and Tory walked in. They all drunk already. Mind you, I'm outside. My weapon is in the car. Tory and man get to arguing. Kylie's outside at the pool still. Tory and the girl in the car start arguing. Meg walk out because she find out such and such. Tory been messing with both of the women in the car. You know how that go already. Tory got in trouble. Meg hops out the car. Tory and the girl fighting over the gun. Excuse me. Tory and the girl fighting over the gun. The gun accidentally goes off because the gun is trying to shoot Megan. The gun accidentally goes off in the midst of them fighting for it, and the girl shoots, and the bullet accidentally gets near Megan. That's why it didn't hit no tendon, because it grazed.
Okay, so that was the bodyguard statement, and maybe 4 or 5 different people wanted me to react to the bodyguard statement. Again, I'm uncomfortable with reacting to it because multiple people have said that that is not the bodyguard, that that person is a troll or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. So I think I take the point of the people that wanted me to react to it, that it's only fair that I react to it because everything is speculation at this point. Everything is alleged. Like, we don't really know what happened. We weren't there, right? So let's say that the bodyguard statement is true. This is where both Tory and Kelsey would be in legal jeopardy. First of all, it's not true that because it's the bodyguard's gun and not Tory's gun, he could not get convicted of possession of the gun, right? Because possession is not that you bought something. Possession is not that it's even yours. You can be convicted of possession of a gun if you are prohibited from having a gun and you're in a car that has the gun, and you know the gun is in the car and you have what's called dominion, knowledge, and control. So we know that he had dominion, knowledge, and control per the bodyguard's own statement because he was wrestling with Kelsey for the gun. Okay, so if he had enough control to have the gun, touch the gun, know that the gun was there, he could potentially be found guilty of possession of the gun. All right. The other thing is that he would have a good defense that I would not have touched the gun or done anything with the gun had Kelsey not picked up the gun to shoot it at Megan Thee Stallion. Either he or Kelsey, or even potentially both, could be guilty of a lesser included offense of a negligent type of assault. So a second degree assault. So if what he's basically charged with right now, a felony or first degree assault, which is the intentional shooting of another person or shooting at another person intentionally. If by fighting with this girl for the gun goes off and Megan is shot, right? He could potentially be found guilty of a negligent or lesser offense because it's negligent to be handling this gun in that manner. Now, he would have a defense of saying, I was trying to keep her from shooting Megan Thee Stallion. I was trying to prevent this thing from happening, and that's why it happened. Kelsey would then be guilty of a first degree assault if she was intentionally trying to shoot at Megan Thee Stallion. Or if she was just playing around with the gun and then it went off accidentally, she could argue to a lesser offense. But here's the issue with that. Kelsey is not charged with possession of the gun, which I don't know if she would be a prohibited person because I don't know about her having any criminal record, nor is she charged with shooting Megan Thee Stallion, or either purposely or accidentally, right? So shooting someone accidentally is still a crime. It's still second degree assault, right? It's still a lesser or more negligent or reckless type of behavior. But she's not charged with that. Tory is. That is what leads me to believe that the state has some type of evidence, although this is not certain, that Tory was the one that had possession of the gun. How will you know things like that? Well, there is gunpowder residue that is left on the hands of a person that fires a gun. So usually if they processed him, even if they released him and they swabbed his hand for gunpowder residue, his clothing for gunpowder residue, and it's on his hand or clothing or person, it would show that he's likely the shooter. And then they would also check the gun for DNA and fingerprints. They're not always likely to find fingerprints on a gun, but DNA is very easily left behind on a gun. If his DNA is on the gun and Kelsey's DNA is not on the gun, then it's more likely he would be convicted or charged for it. If Kelsey's DNA is on the gun and his isn't, then obviously the charges would accrue to Kelsey. It's very unlikely, although I'm not certain, that they have DNA evidence at this point. It's probably been taken off to a lab somewhere if they did swab the gun for DNA evidence. I only assume that some type of statement was made, not from Megan Thee Stallion, that led to them reaching those type of charges based on my training and experience. Especially because, again, Megan Thee Stallion's statements are contradictory, okay? They're contradictory. And because they contradict one another, she is not going to be the most reliable witness. So this is Editing Natalie here. Hi, guys. When I was editing this video, I realized that the Bodyguard story had a little inconsistency in it. And so I went back and listened to it and recorded a second reaction. So sometimes you're going to see me in this shirt and sometimes you're going to see me in the dress that I was wearing when I originally recorded this video a couple days ago. And now that I'm editing it and putting it together, hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, let me see if you guys notice the inconsistency too.
I'm outside. My weapon is in the car. Tory and Meg get the arguing. Kylie's outside at the pool still. Tory and the girl in the car start arguing. Meg walk out because she find out.
That, okay, when he said Kylie's outside at the pool still, that was the part that made me kind of be like, what are you talking about? Because to all accounts, Tory's, Megan's, TMZ, they were on their way back to where Megan was staying and they had stopped and they were nearly back to where Megan was staying. And they had stopped when the argument started and, Megan got out the car and then the gun was shot, right? That is not at Kylie's house where the pool was. So when he says Kylie was outside, still at the pool or whatever, that doesn't make sense compared to what everyone else is saying. So that's why I thought, and I thought most other people thought this, that's why I thought that this was not really the bodyguard, that this was just somebody trying to get some like type of attention. Okay, now back to the reaction. Okay, so there was the statement by the bodyguard. You guys heard what he had to say. And it doesn't do what I think the bodyguard thinks that it does, if that is in fact the bodyguard. It does not exonerate Tory Lanez. What it does is maybe bring him down to the lesser offense of a second-degree assault or a reckless or negligent action, reckless endangerment, something like that. And it does maybe call into question the gun charge, but not 100%. Because again, if he had the gun and was playing around with the gun or had the ability to exert control over the gun, which can be shown by the fact that he even says he was touching the gun, he would likely be convicted of gun possession. So that's something for a lot of people to understand. And his bodyguard is like putting him more in possession of the gun by saying that he was fighting with the girlfriend. It's actually not that helpful of a statement, but that's my analysis of it. So by you being a defense attorney, what you're saying is the burden of proof is on the DA to prove that he shot her. So he never have to say he didn't shoot her. He don't have to take the stand. I think you're being biased. I take the question, actually. Let me be fair. I take the question. I understand the question. I am talking about what he chose to put out to the public. He would have been better off saying nothing. This is the court of public opinion. This is not a courtroom, right? And so since he said something to the public, I am analyzing what he said. And the prosecutor will be analyzing what he said. And he never needs to take the stand, but no criminal defendant has to testify. And the fact that they choose not to testify cannot be used against them as evidence of guilt at trial. But in this particular case, he has created for himself a prior statement on the record. He has recorded himself making a statement, and it's a statement against his pecuniary interest. So the state is able to bring that statement in, play it for the jury, and then they get to argue from it that he never said he didn't shoot her. And that's all I'm trying to say, is that if you're going to take the risk of making a public statement, you have to, in no uncertain terms, say you did not shoot her. Is it possible he did not shoot her? Yes. Is it possible she's lying on him? Yes, it's possible. But he needs to say that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It needs to be clear, and it wasn't. Okay? And no one can show me the timestamp of where he says he didn't shoot her. So I'm sorry, that's just what it is. It's not because I hate the guy. I don't hate him. You know, I really do wish the best for him, but that's just what happened. Since there is an open case, will it hurt Tory's case if he directly confirms or denies his part in this on social media? Yes. Yes, it will. So he should not have said anything at all. And I know it's unfair because Megan Thee Stallion made a statement, right? But she's not the criminal defendant. So she's not in jeopardy of, at this point, going to jail. So I know that he wants to defend himself. And I think the way to do that in the public eye is to have your attorney or your publicist make a prepared statement saying he maintains his innocence. You know, Tory Lanez maintains his innocence and he looks forward to his day in court. He's going to be fighting this to the fullest extent of the law. I think that every single one of his fans would have been just as satisfied with that statement as if he were to make the Instagram statement that he made, right? Where I am able to look at the statement and kind of, you know, see the inconsistencies in his story and things like that. The same thing goes for Megan Thee Stallion, though. Even though she's not the criminal defendant, I would have left my statement for the day in court because any good defense attorney will take her statement, the fact that she's made inconsistent statements to the media, to the police, to the hospital. She's made inconsistent statements all over the place. The fact that she's made these inconsistent statements, his attorney is going to be able to use those against her to impeach her credibility as a witness at trial, right? So that's why I said at my conclusion in the second video that this is not a slam dunk case. So she cannot say she doesn't lie when clearly she did, and she just lied again when she said, I don't lie. So no matter what her excuse is, she's a liar. I think that that's a fair point, and that's what I said in my video. I said, you can't say, and you're setting yourself up by saying, I don't ever lie, because you lied at one point. You either lied by omission or you affirmatively lied, by saying that you don't know who shot you or you didn't know that you got shot or whatever, and then coming out later and saying Tory Lanez shot me, right? I believe the story she's telling now, but other people don't have to believe that. Other people can say they don't believe that, and then that's the end of the case, and that creates reasonable doubt, and then he'd be found not guilty. So this is in no way, like I said before, a slam dunk case. I'm just giving you my analysis of who I think is currently telling the truth. If Tory Lanez came out with a statement today and said, I didn't shoot that girl, this is what happened, I think I would rate that video a lot differently than I do this video that he's done, where he's like, it didn't happen like that, the allegations aren't true, you know, her mother died, and this happened, and that happened, and, you know, Rock Nation, and blah, blah, blah. I need you to talk about the chronological order of events. Tell me what happened from the moment that you got in that car to the moment that the police showed up. Tell me what happened, and I will listen to that and compare it to what she said and give you a fair shake. But he hasn't given me the opportunity to do that because he hasn't given a chronological version of events. Okay, does that make sense? All right, anyway, moving on. What no one is paying attention to is before this happened, Megan was becoming a one-hit wonder. So if she and her friend was fighting over the gun and she got shot, her career would be over. So why not blame it on someone else? Look at the results she's getting off of saying he shot her. So again, I don't think that version of events makes a lot of sense, that she was arguing with him, or no, I'm sorry, that she was fighting with Kelsey over the gun and the gun went off and she got shot in her feet, both of her feet. I don't think that makes any sense. I also don't think it makes sense because the flooring of SUVs are carpeted. So your feet are down. Somehow the gun goes off. You're shot in the back of your foot. And then glass is coming up from a carpeted floor. I don't think that makes sense forensically. I'm pretty certain it doesn't. Also, this was not a close range shot. I keep seeing people say that. The gun clearly was not fired within the vehicle. I don't think that is what's being shown here. I think there were casings found outside the vehicle. So when a bullet comes out of a gun, it lets go of a casing. The casings, I believe, were found outside of the vehicle. So I think it's pretty clear that the gun was shot outside the vehicle, that they weren't inside the vehicle fighting over the gun. I don't think that that's supported by the evidence, but we'll see what happens when and if the case goes to trial. I'm going to skip this one because I think I already answered her question. Many other women who comments on the scenario, I see you making tons of excuses for Megan, saying this is the way the victims lie. You're excusing her lies and quite literally calling her credible for lying. I was not calling her credible for lying. I was telling you this had nothing to do with many of these women, blah, blah, blah. You know, this thing that a lot of people do is, because I'm a woman, you're projecting onto me that I'm going to be biased because I'm female. That's not the case at all. If I was a male attorney telling you this, you would be better able to handle or digest the information that I'm giving you. But you feel combative against me because I'm female. I'm simply telling you something based on my training and experience. That literally is the way that victims are inconsistent in their stories. That is absolutely the way that they're inconsistent. But were this case to go to trial, there's no expert that's going to get up and say, oh, yes, she lied because of this and she lied because of that. She can give her own reasons for why she lied, right? And then the jury will be able to determine her credibility based on her own reasons for why she lied. But on cross-examination, any decent criminal defense attorney is going to be able to eat her up. So again, that's why I say it's not a slam dunk case, that Tory still has a chance of success at trial. The issue is going to be explaining away the forensics. It doesn't really matter what anyone's story is. If his DNA is on the gun or anything like that, it's going to be very difficult. And a doctor comes in and says, I removed a bullet from her foot. It's going to be very difficult for the jury not to reach the conclusion that he shot her. But I don't know that those are the facts at this point in time. All I was saying was based on my training and experience, that is the way that true victims lie in cases. It's true. I'm sorry you don't like it, but it just is what it is, okay? This person says, what do we know? Cops were called because shots were fired. Megan was injured in both feet. Tory, Megan, her best friend, and Tory's bodyguard were all present. There was a gun recovered from the scene. The DA is charging Lanez with assault and with a semi-automatic firearm, personal use of a firearm, and carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle. Everything else is conjecture. Yeah. So everything else here is conjecture, right? We just know what the charges are. And you have a bodyguard that's right there. If the firearm is unregistered, everyone can be charged with possession of that firearm. Something leads me to believe that there is some type of forensic evidence or witness testimony or witness statement other than Megan's that leads the police and the DA to believe that they have the strongest case against Tory Lanez, okay? Again, it doesn't mean that he actually had possession of the gun, but it means that he had constructive, is what it's called, constructive possession of the gun. You can be in a car with somebody who has a gun, and if you know it's there, you need and you're prohibited from having a gun, you should hop out that car because you can be convicted of constructive possession, right? And that's the legal jeopardy that he's in, unfortunately. If her back was towards the three other folks, how can anyone believe that she is telling the truth and saying it was Tory? So here's the thing. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a shooting or anything like that. You know what doesn't happen? Someone shoots a gun and then you turn around and they've tucked the gun behind their back and they're looking away and you have no way of knowing who shoot the gun. You shoot the gun, it creates a recoil, you turn around, you're going to see the person that just shot you. The person holding the gun likely within seconds is not going to be able to put the gun behind their back and hide the gun. Or the other people in the car wouldn't say, why did you just do that? What is going on? You know, like from people's reaction and from the person that's holding the gun, even if someone shoots you from behind, you can turn around and see who shot you. Because it's a pretty immediate event. It happens very quickly. So it's not like poisoning or something. It's shooting. It happens right away. You can turn around and see who shot you. So I don't think that that's that inconceivable, but maybe a good listen, let me tell you this. If I was his attorney, I would definitely argue, you got shot while your back was turned. You didn't see who shot you, did you? I would ask that question without a doubt. I'm just saying that it would just be easier for the prosecutor to then come back and say, oh, so he tucked it behind his back? No, he didn't tuck it behind his back. Where was the gun when he turned around? In his hand or in her hand or in the bodyguard's hand, right? Or people were yelling at him or her or the bodyguard, why did you just shoot her? So I knew that such and such shot me, right? It's an easy question to overcome, potentially. So someone asked if I listened to Tory Lanez's security statement, which we just did. And she said she was walking away, didn't know what was going on behind her. Maybe he meant he was fighting her friend and trying to take the gun away. Maybe he was trying to protect her. And that's okay. So it's possible that Tory Lanez was trying to protect Megan Thee Stallion and trying to keep her friend from shooting her. But at this point, Tory Lanez is charged with shooting Megan Thee Stallion. He's charged with abusing a woman, you know, in the age of Me Too and all that type of stuff. His career could have potentially taken a hit. I don't know that it necessarily has, you know. It would behoove him at this point to say, I didn't shoot her. Such and such did. Instead, he's saying the series of events didn't happen that way and the allegations are not as they're alleged and she was influenced by Roc Nation. You're not getting to the heart of the matter. I need him to say that or not make a statement at all. I totally respect if you have nothing to say because you're the criminal defendant and you should remain silent. But he chose to make a statement. And in that statement, because he didn't say that, I can't believe that those are the versions of events. I think that that's wishful thinking of fans. I think that that's what people wish happened. And if that is what happened, I'll eat my words and I'll apologize. But I don't think that that's what happened because that's not what he said. She got shot and got back in the car with him before they finally got pulled over. That part, I just don't understand. Yeah, so I understand that question. Like, you know, so she was outside the car when she was shot because she was shot in the back of her feet, right? And so anyone talking about she was fighting with the gun with her friend, that doesn't make any sense. She was clearly shot in the back of her feet, so she was outside the car. She couldn't have been inside the car and shot in the back of her feet at the same time, unless she was like, what, laying on her stomach and fighting for the car, fighting for the gun, and then shot in the whatever. So she's outside the car. And then before the police arrive, she gets back in the car. That, I think, can be read as suspicious. I think it also could be that you just got shot in the back of your feet and you need to sit down. But I don't know if I would get in the car with the person that just shot me. I don't know if I would do that, you know? But again, she also said she was trying to protect him when the police arrived and all that type of stuff. So I can't say what she means by that. I think that that is a sound point. Of everyone that has made all these points, I think Tanisha Williams has made a sound point. Why did she get back in the car? It's a good question. You're being biased. Okay, here we go with the female empowerment, but your video has the same amount of dislikes as it does likes. I wanted to respond to that. Because first of all, this guy said that he doesn't like this female empowerment BS or this, female solidarity SHIT. And he was going off with a whole bunch of different comments. But I didn't take off any of his comments. I think maybe he deleted some of his comments, whatever the case may be. This has nothing to do with female empowerment. If you look at my body of work here on YouTube, you will see that, first of all, I got sued by a white supremacist for defending Black men, okay? That's the reason I got sued by a white supremacist, because I told her that it was racist for her to say she didn't find any Black men attractive at all. I was defending Black men, all right? Also, I defended Kobe Bryant when Gayle King was, going in on his legacy after he passed away because he had rape allegations against him, and it was completely inappropriate, in my opinion. I defended Kobe Bryant. I am here. I also call into question Cyntoia Brown's account of events because she was put in jail for killing allegedly her pimp. It was not her pimp. It was not her human trafficker. The guy was literally just a victim. He picked her up, yes, but he didn't know she was underage, and she killed the man in his sleep, right? And I thought she should get out of prison because of how old she was at that time, how much time has passed since then. But I thought that, that wasn't a Black man, that was a white man. But still, I don't always pick the woman's side, right? Me not always picking the woman's side has gotten me in a lot of trouble. So this has nothing to do with female empowerment. You are just projecting onto me because I'm a woman with an opinion that you don't like. If I had said, oh, I totally believe Tory Lanez, he's completely telling the truth, Megan Stallion is such a liar, then you would be like, yes, sis, go you. Thank you for sticking up for us. I'm not sticking up for anybody. I'm telling you that while she has clearly lied, he is lying right now to our faces. I'm sorry, but he is, or he's withholding something. And he may be withholding for a good reason. He may be withholding because he's trying to protect someone, as people are saying, right? He's trying to protect Megan. It doesn't really protect Megan because in his diss track, he talked about her mother and stuff like that. It doesn't really protect her, but maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe. But we know that he is not telling us the whole story. Everyone needs to just acknowledge that. And we know that Megan is not telling us the whole story. Everyone needs to acknowledge that. And once we acknowledge that, then we can get to the truth of the matter. She should have gotten more guidance on whether to speak, agreed, or she should have written down points, because her saying, I didn't tell the police nothing because I didn't want us to get in no more trouble than what we was already about to get in, can be read into, and the defense can use that. Yes, absolutely agreed. I noticed Megan called her friend that was there with her homegirl, so wouldn't you defend your friend? What would be the reason for Megan's homegirl not to defend her? As far as him saying, why would she get back in the car with someone who shot her? Well, she had on a bikini and she is familiar with the person who did it, so clearly a stranger didn't shoot her. I agree with all of that. The situation with the friend is very bizarre to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand why the friend has to come out and said, Tory did not shoot her, she's lying, or Tory did shoot her, he's lying. I don't know, and that leads me to think that the friend had some type of involvement, but I don't know what it is, because she has just come out and been like, know who your friends are and inspirational speak and stuff like that. I don't quite get the friend in her statement. I'm so confused by that. If someone can shine some light on that, I would love to hear it, because I don't get it.
Hey, so I did some research and wanted to talk to you guys about that particular point, which was, why isn't the friend saying anything, right? She's not on Megan's payroll. She's not on Tory's payroll. The Bodyguard statement, if that is the Bodyguard, makes sense to me because he's on Tory's payroll, although he tells an inconsistent story because he says that Kylie Jenner was outside when she wasn't. But aside from that, why isn't the friend being forthcoming with what happened? So I wanted to read you guys this article from Complex Magazine that says, sources allege Tory Lanez told Megan Thee Stallion dance bitch before firing at her feet. This article is from September 25th, 2020, And it says, before firing 4 shots at Megan Thee Stallion's feet, Tory Lanez allegedly told her, "Dance, bitch," and then, desperate to fix his mistake, he offered hush money to cover it up. That's the story told by Too Complex by a source close to the situation. Tory spent a good chunk of his surprise new project, Daystar, released Friday, attempting to refute Megan Thee Stallion's public account of the July 2020 incident in which she was injured following a day out with Tory. In response to Megan's accusation that Lanez shot her, he raps, quote, "How the F you get shot in your foot, don't hit no bones or tendons." He also takes a swipe at Meg's management, Rock Nation, spitting, "I don't give a damn if Shorty knows Jigga." Megan has publicly claimed that Lanez shot her in the foot on July 12th as she attempted to exit the car they were in, following an argument between her, Lanez, Tory security, and another passenger, Megan's friend, Kelsey Nicole. On Daystar, Lanez pushes back, saying that Megan's people trying to frame me for a shooting and insisting he never put Megan in no danger. Now, a source close to the situation is disputing Lanez's characterization, describing a very different scene. When she gets out the car and says, "I'm just gonna walk home," he pulls out a gun and says, "Dance, bitch," and he starts shooting her, the source tells Complex. The source also says that Tory offered hush money to Megan and Kelsey Nicole in the aftermath of the shooting, even as Megan was receiving medical treatment. As she's going into surgery, the maniac is texting her, the source says. He's basically trying to say he'll pay. Her friend is also getting calls to receive money. He was trying to keep her quiet. Complex has reviewed, meaning the magazine themselves, who could get sued for lying, has seen Cedars-Sinai medical records from the aftermath of the incident, which are consistent with Megan's story that she was shot in her feet, and mentioned shrapnel found in her heel. The source says that they are speaking out because the public's response around Tory's project has made people doubt Megan's story and even mock her. This is not okay, and it's not funny, and it's not something that we can just normalize, they explain. When reached for comment, a representative for Tory Lanez categorically denied that Tory said "dance bitch" to Megan, but did not deny that he shot her. Did not deny that he shot her. And then there was one more thing I wanted you guys to hear, and this is from Vlad TV. And this just basically, no, I'm sorry, not Vlad TV. This one is from The Shade Room, which says Cedars-Sinai hospital records confirm Megan Thee Stallion was telling the truth about being shot. And it says, we can confirm after looking at the reports that on July 12th, Megan was admitted to Cedars-Sinai on an admission diagnosis of gunshot injury. Gunshot injury. This means that the practicing physician saw her wound and determined she needed to be treated for gunshot injury. The reports also show that shrapnel was found in Megan's left heel. Shrapnels are shell casing fragments from a bullet, in most cases, defined as debris from a bomb or explosion. The reports confirm that Megan was treated with irrigation and debridement, which is what I said in my previous video, that it looked like the wound had been debrided, which is the removal of hardened tissue or debris. In this case, shrapnel from her foot. She was given medication, and they determined her to be okay for discharge on July 14th, meaning she was in the hospital for 2 days. Megan's discharge diagnosis was classified as gunshot injury. So she was brought in on gunshot injury, and when they discharged her, they said it was gunshot injury. So it's not a question of whether or not it was a gunshot wound. And the friend was paid, right? And allegedly, if this report is true, then the friend was paid, and then that would be the only thing that would explain her current not wanting to say anything, right? Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it really calls into question what on earth is going on here. Also, these medical records do not support what you guys are arguing, that Megan was not shot. And I don't even think his own people are saying that Megan wasn't shot. His own people were saying he didn't say "dance, bitch." And there's also a TMZ article that I read, and I'll read that for you right now, where basically he says that there's mitigating circumstances and the case is not, what you think it is. So back in September, TMZ reported that they have seen the text message, got on the evening of July 12th through roughly 15 hours after she claims Tory shot her in the feet. And in it, he's begging for forgiveness. He wrote, "I know you're probably never going to talk to me again, but I genuinely want you to know I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart." His only explanation for the violence was, "I was too drunk." In the text, Tory never referencing shooting or a gun, but it is clear he did something he regrets. In his words, nonetheless, shit should have never happened, and I can't change what I did. I just feel horrible. And he repeats, because I genuinely just got too drunk. TMZ broke this story. Tory and Megan and another friend have been partying, hopping in the Hollywood Hills. Early on July 12th, police responded to reports of shots fired from or around an SUV. Okay, so they are not, TMZ is not showing us the text messages, but they say that they've seen the text messages. And once again, if anybody knows anything about TMZ, they're on top of their thing. So that leads me to believe he did shoot her. He did apologize for shooting her. And that now the friend is staying silent because the friend got paid, according to what Complex and the Shade Room are saying. So we'll see. We'll see. This is all conjecture, but that's what we have so far. And that would answer a lot of your guys' questions, I think.
There's a leaked video of him faking and orchestrating a situation where he's seemingly protecting a dark-skinned model on set from being replaced by a light-skinned model. It's a real thing that happens, but he faked the situation to look like the savior and hero, and the behavior is manipulative and strange. He keeps saying that he shows out for Black women. So this person said that that was irrelevant, but actually, again, your prior actions are important, and he's made how he sticks up for Black women relevant here, because he's saying, look, I make videos about Black love and ghetto love, and I love Black women, and I use Black women in my videos. But I don't know if this is true, but if in fact this is true, it is a character issue. And, you know, character issues can be assessed. Does Megan Thee Stallion have character issues? Yes, we all do. But we are talking about his credibility here because he's the alleged defendant. He's the defendant. He's alleged to have committed the crime. So this person said that he saw that I was biased. The test you did that involved eye contact and how he seemed more distracted, I understand. But you would need to compare both in previous dialect to see if some of what you are judging isn't just a personal trait. So okay, so I understand what he's saying. So he was just basically saying that that's how Tory talks. He looks to the side and he doesn't make direct eye contact, and that's just a personality trait, and so you shouldn't hold that against him. And so fair enough. This person said, if it's no exit wound, they mean wound, that means the bullet's still there, right? So if it's there, how is the foot tough enough to hold the bullet from coming out the other side without damaging any bone or tendons at all? Explain, please. Okay, that's actually a great question. So the reason that some people were saying that this was a point blank shooting, it was not a point blank shooting. I wanted to pull up like pictures of point blank shootings, but I thought maybe that would be too graphic for this. I'm not sure like what people can handle. I can do that in another video if necessary. Guys, let me know, but I don't want to like get too graphic and like put people off, you know? But anyway, when it comes to a bullet's, you know, velocity, depending on the type of bullet, it is absolutely possible that a bullet does not go all the way through, especially if she was far enough away. What it leads me to believe is that whoever shot the gun intended to shoot at her, but did not intend to strike her. Okay, I think it was Tory, but it could have been somebody else. Whoever shot that gun did not intend to shoot her. And that the fact that they, you know, hit her and then shrapnel was like all over and stuff like that. I already showed you guys the picture. That is completely consistent with someone being shot from far away. She was shot from far away. That's why it didn't go all the way through. It wasn't a sniper gun, okay? But that's why it didn't go all the way through. And you know that they took the bullet out because like in the photos that I showed, they have an incision mark where they would have gone in and taken the bullet out and then just sewn it back up. So she just got lucky, but just because she got lucky doesn't mean that it's impossible. You guys know that there are people that have been shot in the head and survived that, are walking around right now with a bullet in their head that hasn't gone through their entire head and did not kill them. Plenty of people. So it happens. It happens. That's how 50 Cent was shot 9 times and didn't die. Because people get shot and it doesn't, for some godly known reason, right? It doesn't make contact with the most critical and vital parts of your body to kill you. Do you know the probabilities on that to be shot 9 times and not die? 50 Cent was one of the bullets went in his face. He was shot in his cheek, right? Didn't lose his teeth, anything like that. Okay, and it doesn't have an exit wound because it didn't come out the other side of his face or the back of his head and he didn't die. So it happens all the time, absolutely all the time. People are shot and it does not come out the other side, and the person either doesn't die or doesn't have serious damage or injuries. The way that you know that it's a gunshot wound is because of the burning around the wound. That is burning. That jagged indentation around the wound is burning, okay? The singeing is how you know. If it had been point blank range, there would have been stippling on her skin. So someone else was saying she got shot at point blank range. How could that be possible? Blah, blah, blah. She was not shot at point blank range, or else there would be stippling. What is stippling? When a gun goes off, gunpowder comes out with it, and it leaves black stippling all around the wound, right? And also sometimes if it's really point blank, if it's the butt of or if it's the gun going up against the skin, the circle from the gun, it's from the opening of the gun, will create a singe mark, kind of like a cigarette lighter stain or burn around the bullet hole. Okay, guys? So that's why, just based on my training, knowledge, and experience, that is clearly a gunshot from far away because it doesn't have any stippling on it, right? The bullet has had time to slow down, so it has a lower velocity because it's far away, and therefore it didn't go all the way through her foot.
Okay, guys, and so what I'm going to show you here is actually a diagram of a low velocity gunshot wound that's in the foot, and I'm going to put it in the cutaway either here or here. I'm not sure where it's going to show up, but anyway, a low velocity gunshot wound isn't going to look anything like what a point blank gunshot wound or a contact shot is. A contact shot is where the butt of the gun actually touches the skin. Close range shot or point blank is where there's a short distance between the gun and the foot. So someone said that she was shot at close range, or that if she was shot at close range, how could that be? And it couldn't have been, she had to have been shot at close range in order for them to hit her feet, and that's not true. So here is a low velocity gunshot wound in the foot, except for this one has an exit wound. It went straight through from the toe, from out the front to the back, okay? And so the front is obviously, the entrance wound is the red, and then the exit wound is the back. So this person was unlucky enough that the bullet went all the way through, but it was low velocity because this person was probably shot from far away. And as you can see, it is a small gunshot wound. It's nothing, and also there's no black stippling around it, and there's not that singeing, and it's not blown open, which is what would happen if you had an up close point blank gunshot. So that's very consistent with the injuries that are on Megan's foot. The only difference is that Megan has had, I think this is a deceased person, but Megan has had surgery on her foot. So it's been cut, like her foot has been cut where the doctors performed surgery on it. So I hope that kind of adds some more light to what I'm saying.
She's just lucky that the person wasn't a good shot. That's all it was. It was just somebody shooting a gun who didn't know what they were doing. That's what it was. It was luck. It was not a conspiracy or anything like that. It was definitely luck. And the reason that, you see the surgical wounds is because they had to perform surgery in order to take the bullet out. It's not really a question at this point whether or not she was shot, because he's charged with shooting her. He's charged with shooting her. So that's not the question. The question is who shot her, and whoever shot her, did they do it intentionally, right? And that doesn't happen in both of your feet accidentally. She was shot in both of her feet, allegedly. And if you're shot in one foot, that can be accidental. But if there's multiple gunshots, those are on purpose. So even if you didn't mean to hit the person, it would be found to be intentional because you kept doing the thing that was so dangerous, okay? Also, again, guys, if shrapnel hit her, or if glass hit her or gravel hit her, and that's what caused all the damage or whatever, first of all, that type of injury doesn't come from glass. I keep saying that to you guys, but it's true. It doesn't come from glass. If that hit her, but it hit her as a result of a bullet hitting near her feet and causing things to come up and hit her foot, that person is still guilty of a first-degree assault as long as they shot the gun off intentionally. And the story that the gun was shot unintentionally doesn't work if the gun is shot more than once. Again, he said I didn't do it. If you ask me for water and I shake my head and say, would you ask me if I said no? Look, he just didn't say he didn't do it. And no one can point me to the screenshot. I've asked for it. No screenshot. I'm looking for it, okay? I'm a woman who's been abused, so I don't condone any form of abuse. I will say this. I don't believe Tory shot her. I've been saying this from the beginning before his video. Only them and God knows what happened that night. However, I'm riding with Tory. Did not shoot her, okay? And I think that that's a fair enough point. Again, I'm really sorry that you went through that. My, sympathies go out to you. Thank you for sharing your story. But it is completely possible, that you're right. It's possible that he didn't shoot her, right? And we'll just have to see what the court system brings out. Maybe the charges get dropped. Maybe she doesn't want to go to trial and she doesn't want to testify against him. Maybe she does go to trial. She does testify against him and people don't believe her. The jury doesn't believe her. We have no idea what's going to happen in the future. None of us are psychic, so we'll see. Black women call the police on abusive black males all the time, and sometimes they call and lie too. That's actually been proven not to be true. I responded to him and I included an article that black violence in black households is often underreported because of our fear of the police. Black women in particular are at a higher risk of abuse and domestic violence in their relationships. However, it does happen where people lie on people. So where a woman might report a domestic assault and it did not actually happen. And she just said it because she wants to get him out of the house, or she wants to get sole custody, or because he cheated or something like that. It happens. I've seen it in my line of work. It's just not as frequent as people would like you to believe, but it definitely does happen. And that's why everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Why didn't you respond to the Rock Nation? Oh, I'm glad he asked. Okay. Why didn't you respond to the Rock Nation comment he made? Also, police got a phone call about gunshots in the area. They came and pulled him over. How did they believe it wasn't gunshot wounds in her foot off of her word? Why they found a gun and didn't check Tory for gunfire residue after charging him with a gun and viewing Megan with a bloody foot? It's a really good question. I think that the fact that there was a delay between the charges of a few weeks is definitely a problem, right? That's going to be a problem that the defense can exploit. But we don't know what the forensics actually are because they have not released the police report. I've been looking for it. There is no police report available online. I'm sure that someone can do like a FOIA request to get it, but there's no police report as of now. So as long as there's no police report, we don't know like what the facts are, but I think that that's a good question. Now, the beginning part about the Rock Nation thing is I don't understand the relevance of the Rock Nation thing. I don't know what people are talking about. So let me just read further into his comment to see what it means. It isn't relevant that before his lawyers told him to stay quiet, he's insinuating her label, billion-dollar powerful industry, threatened him to not to speak on the situation. But then she, who her label employs, in return jumped in and said he shot her. And I told him, I was saying I didn't understand the connection people were trying to draw between Rock Nation and the shooting. I see what you mean. I will look more into it. Then I'll address this in another video. So this is the video. So basically, I think what people are trying to say is that somebody was like, oh, he owns his own masters and Rock Nation and blah, blah, blah. Rock Nation didn't shoot Megan Thee Stallion, right? And it may be unfair if they called him and they said, don't you dare make a statement, right? And then she makes a statement, she gets out before him. I think that that's unfair. I think that you can cure that if you're going to make a statement by just coming out and saying, but I didn't shoot her, right? So that's the thing. It's like, I don't think that there's like, I definitely think, okay, look at this up. I think that a record company is definitely going to protect their artist. He's not their artist. She is, right? If they can exert some type of power and control over him or some type of financial. Now, if he said that Rock Nation was like stopping him from being able to release music, or they sued him, or they did something to him to financially harm him, then I'd be like, okay, that's an issue. We got to talk about that. What's that all about? But just saying that they called you and said, don't make a statement, I don't understand why that has anything to do with whether or not he shot her. I still don't get that, guys. I'm trying to understand that. I would like for you guys to comment below with what that's supposed to mean, because I don't get it. Okay, this is what I mean. How would that be admissible in a court of law? Like, for example, I recognize that me saying this is the way the victims lie, I know that that's insider baseball from my own experience with witnesses. The witnesses will lie in a certain way, and this is indicative of that type of lie, right? You can't use that in court. All the jury is going to hear is on day A, she told a story, and on day B, she told a different story. The stories contradict, and so you shouldn't believe her, right? The jury might hear that, oh, Rock Nation gave you a phone call afterwards, right? But How is that going to help the jury determine whether or not he shot her? More than likely, the judge won't even let the jury hear that because they probably won't find it to be relevant. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not relevant to the shooting. I believe that record companies are shady. I believe that they want to have their own clients' best interest in mind, that they care more about them or the money that they make them than they care about the other person. I completely believe that. I believe that record companies take advantage of people, all that type of stuff. But what I don't get is what that has to do with whether or not he shot her. And I may just be missing something. Genuinely, this is not me being shady. I genuinely may be missing something. I need you guys to help me understand. I don't see the relevance. Okay, that's it. That's my opinion on that. This is a horrible breakdown, mostly based in pseudoscience with a sprinkling of legalese explanations that will have no bearing on this case. So actually, legalese is the word for the technical terms that attorneys use. So yes, that was full of legalese because I use technical terms. It's not synonymous with pseudoscience or analogous to pseudoscience, which is not real science, basically, right? I would say that I use some pseudoscience in my mental assessments of how people were talking and stuff like that. Just like, I'm not a psychologist. I have a bachelor's in psychology, but I'm not a psychologist, right? But I have some training. And then on top of that, based on, my interactions with people in the legal field, these are the type of things that I read from people. That stuff is not admissible at court. That is in court. That is absolutely true. Like, my impressions of a person are never going to be admissible in court. I'm telling you how a jury is likely to interpret it. Juries are not monolithic. They're all different. But when those 12 people get in that jury box or that deliberation room and they start talking about the case, and afterwards, and I've spoken to them and said, like, what made an impression of you? Did this make an impression on you? Blah, blah, blah. That's from talking to juries. Those are the type of things that they consider, right? So it's not necessarily a legal thing. It's the way that people think is really what I'm talking about. Now, when I talk about, when I speak in legalese, it's because I'm giving my audience the respect to know that they are also intelligent. They're able to form their own opinions, and I'm not going to talk down to them, right? So regardless of the perceived relations between the police and the Black community, no woman is going to get back in a car with the man that just shot her. I really beg to disagree. Women and men, they get abused, they go back home, they get back in the car, they get remarried. All types of stuff happen after people receive extreme abuse from their significant other. Tyler Perry, ask Tyler Perry about it. Tyler Perry's mother was extremely abused by her father, and she continued to go back to him over and over again. It was one of the motivations for, his work and, Diary of a Mad Black Woman and stuff like that. It happens all the time. It's not uncommon at all. I'm sorry. I think that's a naive view to believe that people don't try to protect their abuser, get back in the car with their abuser, go back home with their abuser, all that type of stuff. It is, now at the very beginning, I said, it's going to be a problem at trial that this person that just shot you got back in the car with him. I'm going to draw all types of conclusions from that. If I'm the defense, I am going to hone in on that. If you really believed he shot you, why would you have gotten back in the car with him? It's a great question to ask. All I'm saying is that it's not outside the realm of possibility that the two things have happened. That's all. And I'm not even advocating necessarily for one point of view versus another. I'm just telling you that sometimes people reach those conclusions. They reach the conclusion that the person is still guilty, even though the victim got back in the car. And you should be prepared for that. That's all. She didn't have an entrance wound, much less an exit. She did have an entrance wound. It's in the photograph that I analyzed in the second video. She's a defense attorney, but not defending Tory, who is actually being accused. I am not defending Tory. I am not defending Megan. I am not taking the position as either of their defense attorneys, really. I am just analyzing the information that they have given us, the statements that they have given us, and the consistency or inconsistency of those statements. I said that Megan had inconsistencies and Tory had inconsistencies, and I made my analysis and conclusions based on what they gave us. I'm only 15 minutes in, so you should have finished the video, but I think I see her angle. A lot of Black women really hate Black men, but protect Black women. Okay. Sounds like a personal problem, my man. Sounds like you have an issue because I'm a Black lady talking. I can't do anything about that. Okay. Obviously that's not what it is, but if someone says like, you hate Black men, me saying, no, I don't hate Black men is not going to convince that person, You know, even me pointing you to my body of work, telling you that, you know, most of the people I represent are Black men and they are poor, and I represent them for free, and I save people's lives, you know, on a daily freaking basis. I get people out of jail. I get people out of prison. But it doesn't matter because you don't know me and you don't care about me as a person, and all you see is my opinion, and you don't like my opinion. So you're going to attack me personally. I've had worse. It's fine. Moving on. I believe Megan, stick to the facts, sir. Was she shot? The doctors should be able to confirm and prove that she had bullet fragments in her feet from the surgery performed. Simple as that. Clearly a surgery was performed. There were surgical incisions in her foot. Is Tory saying she stepped on bullet fragments? When was she shot? Apparently not shot at the party, but before arriving at her place. Who shot Megan? She and any witnesses should know. Is Tory trying to say she shot herself, or is Tory saying someone else shot her, or is Tory saying he shot her? He's not saying any of those things. Like, she was clearly shot because he's charged with shooting her, but he's not saying I didn't shoot her, or the friend shot her, or the bodyguard shot her. They were in a contained car. Only 3 other people could have shot her, and he's not saying who it was, you know, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so you can know when I post the next video, and I'm out. Bye.